Hi everybody, welcome to YSCom Driving, and today we are up in Gotong Jaya. We've just come up the hill in this beautiful car, and we are the first to test it in Malaysia, yeah? And this is none other than the Hyundai i30N. This is Hyundai's attempt at getting into the hot hatch market, and the designer is actually Albert Biermann, who used to run the M division of BMW. And he is tasked with the job of building a car that will take the lead in the hot hatch market. Of course, this is his first attempt, and in the beginning you got to actually prove yourself, and he's done a pretty good job with this i30N. So the base car is actually the i30, but the weight of this car is a little bit over 1.4 tons, and that is because in order to make the car handle well, they have done a lot of bracing and strengthening. So there are extra panels here and there, including even braces for the front cross members and the subframes. Okay, so this car is pretty heavy, but powering it is a 2-liter turbocharged engine. You get 275 horsepower and 350 Newton meters of torque. So this car has got an additional overboost function, and if you step on it hard enough, instead of the normal 350 Newton meters of torque, you get 378. So you get additional 28 Newton meters of torque that helps you to get the car moving faster. Okay, so the grille is this is new. The new grille is called a cascading grille, and of course the key here is actually the N badge. So N stands for Nürburgring first, and it also N stands for Namyong, where they have a plan to do the R&D for this car. And also there are 2 corners in Nürburgring that look like the letter N. So this N has a special meaning. So instead of calling it a race or a GTI or whatever they want to call it, they call it the i30N. And this one for Malaysia comes with a special performance package that includes bigger brakes, 19-inch wheels, and so on and so forth. All right, now looking at the front, you can see here, this is actually made for the racetrack. There's actually a hole here, you can't see it, but it's here for the brake coolers. This car is almost ready to race, yeah. In terms of the tune, you have, of course, you have Eco, then you have your normal, then you have your Sport and your Sport Plus, and there's an N. The N button turns everything to Sport Plus, yeah. And then there's also customizable. So there are about 4 or 5 driving modes. We won't go into details because when we drive the car, you get to see it. And then here, if you look at it, there is a little hole here, and this is actually part of the aerodynamic package. And of course here, on this lip, you see a nice red accent. Looks familiar, right? Okay, so we know where they're going to target this car at. It's, of course, the main thrust will be at the German makes, yeah? And I can tell you, a little bird has told me actually, that there will be more to come. There will be hotter versions of this, getting more and more, because Mr. Biermann had to first show Hyundai, hey, I can build a car. So he has built this car, and if my drive is anything to go by, it's actually pretty nice, okay? It's not the most powerful car in the market at 275 horsepower, but it handles very, very well. All right, here's taking a closer look at the car, and at the front you have LED projector lights, yeah? And I think that's the high beam there, also a projector. And then your secondary beams, also projector, and these are the LED daytime running lights. Okay, moving back. Okay, closing again. Going to the side, you have big 19-inch wheels. Now that's about the same size as what's on the Golf R, and these are Pirelli P0s. Yes, you can see there. Excellent choice of tire by Hyundai. The size is 235/35 R19. So what does that mean? That means 35 series means the height of the tire, which is actually here, is 35% of the width of the tire. So if the width is 235 mm, which is that's what 235 means, then the height is 35% of 235. That's about 60 mm. Yeah, maybe 2.5, 3 inches. Yeah, around less than 3 inches of tire, 19-inch rim. So there is very little rubber at the bottom, and so these rims have to be very strong, let me tell you. And also the basic tire pressure would be around 260, 270, yeah, which is a high pressure in order for the tire to take it. Now these are the N brakes. They are actually single pot calipers, and it's a floating caliper, and that acts on these large discs. They're 345 mm. Okay? So I believe that these parts are just taken off the parts bin in Hyundai. And then of course there's this side skirt that goes around, and you can see a little bit back. This is actually a 4-door hatch, yeah. And those are the rear brakes, and these are also single pot floating calipers. And would you believe it? Yes, ventilated discs. These are, I think, 315 or 314 mm. I was told the number, but that's 345 in the front and 314 in the back. So the back brakes are a little bit smaller. Now, looking at the car, it actually stands quite well, and you may think it's a hatch, but it's actually quite big. Yeah, the wheelbase is very interesting. It's 2650, so it's actually BC class. Yeah, a little bit longer than a B, a little bit shorter than a C, and because the C class, a C segment version of this car would be the Elantra, which I think runs 2700. So this is 50 mm shorter, and I'm sure they built it for a reason. Yeah, they built it to handle well. So a shorter wheelbase means better pendulum. Now further at the back, you see LED lights, and of course up here, this is the new style of spoiler. It not only acts as a spoiler, but it also acts as a sort of a sunshade. And interestingly, at the top here, you can see a little hole. Yeah, you can see here there's a hole to allow air. And this is the stop lamp, brake lamp, yeah, for the top. And now this imported version comes with panoramic sunroof, but I think the 20 units that Hyundai is bringing in will come without it. And at the back, you can't run away from the fact that this is the i30N, because right there, that's the N, yeah. So this color is a racing blue for Hyundai, and at the back there's a rendition of a diffuser, and also some nice little black slats here that make the car look good. I don't know if there's any use for them, but could be for brake cooler or for brake venting. And of course, that's the twin pipes. And this car also crackles and pops when it's in N mode, and that's because there's a valve here on the right hand side that makes the crackle and pop. When you turn it to N mode, there's a valve there that opens electronically, of course, and it gives you that more sporty roar and the crackle pop. So this car does not have any speaker, or rather the exhaust sound doesn't come from the speaker, yeah. And so that's why when we were driving it just now, the crackle and pop was coming out, but it was quite muted because it was at the back. But of course, if you're following this car, I can bet you the sound's going to be really good. And of course, remembering this is a Hyundai. But anyway, those of you in the know will know that Hyundai is actually quite involved in motorsport, and they actually run a car that's called i30 for the World Rally Championship. Of course, that car is a little bit different, but this is the spirit of it all. Then you can see along the sides, very tastefully done. The blackouts make the car look that much more sportier, starting with the black rear spoiler, and then you can look through the A, B, and C pillars, and then you have the blackouts on the window, on the door frames, to make the car look really nice. And of course, there's this N sticker along the side that gives the car a little bit more character. Now, rear suspension is multi-link, not a torsion beam, yeah. And the front are McPherson struts. So those are actually magical numbers or magical items that help to contribute to good handling and sporty handling. And you can safely say that most of the hot hatches run that type of suspension. Of course, the Megane runs a very different one. It runs the torsion beam and four-wheel steering. So this i30N suspension is close to what the Golf R is having, yeah. McPherson struts in the front and multi-link in the back, same as what the Mercedes A45 AMG is having. Of course, you can expect that later versions of this car will be more powerful. Okay, we're gonna get inside the car. Okay, this is the lock button. Oh, it's so much like the Golf R. You lock it, it folds the mirrors. Of course, a lot of cars do that. And let's see, this is the key fob. Of course, you can open the key fob, and you can also, you press and hold, the boot opens, but it's not electronic, yeah. And let's see, can I just open the door? Nope. Can I press the button and open the door? Yes. Okay. So that's what the inside looks like. So first off, I would like to tell you that this is a manual, and well, some people say real cars come with 3 pedals, and so there are 3, but a man only has 2 feet. That's a very interesting situation, yeah. So anyway, here are the seats, and you can see they are quite well contoured. Yeah, I drove up in this car and the seats held me very well. Okay, so you get leather bound. This is actually, it's not white stitching, yeah, it's like light blue, and of course you can see the side airbags here. And then here you have the N, yeah. So this is very similar to another car that we know, and seats are electrically controlled. So at the bottom here you have a mechanical adjustment. You just press up and you pull forward, and you get about an inch of adjustment for you to get additional thigh support. Okay, so let's before we get into the car, let's pop the bonnet and see what we get. Okay, so this is a standard popping for the bonnet. First off, there isn't a gas strut, so you have to work hard, yeah. Okay, so now the bonnet will be the first thing that will be subject to a weight saving exercise later, because it's still made of steel and it's relatively heavy. Yeah, it's quite heavy, so I think you'll be able to see something in this department pretty soon. And here's the engine. Okay, so you can see that it says turbo, and the proof of the pudding is of course at the back. You can see a very well insulated and quite a huge turbo. Okay, so the engine, they have actually done some weight saving here. Okay, so you have variable valve timing mechanism for both, so you dual VVTi if you want to call it. I don't know what Hyundai calls that, but basically it's variable valve timing. And okay, the engine is aluminum. I can see the aluminum block down there, and of course they also done some weight saving here. The mountings are also aluminum, and in the tradition of making sports cars like in Germany, because the project leader is a German, you have also the cut up front fenders to save weight, and this is the intake side of it. So okay, here is where the air element is, and you can see here this is from the air cleaner box. There's this thing coming up here, and this is where the intake of the air for the engine, okay, is at the top. So it's pretty high. Okay, you're not going to take this car into a flood, but in case you need to go through a flood, you can rest assured that the intake is quite high, so not a problem. But of course, in all instances, we always tell you don't go into the flood, yeah, because the depth can change. You think it's 6 inches, you go in, it can be 2 feet. Yeah. So anyway, the engine is on one side, and then the intake goes in from there into the turbo, and then it gets pushed out, and it comes out, and there is or it goes down from somewhere down there, and the intercooler is actually at the bottom. Okay, at the bottom, yeah, of that part there, the intercooler is there. And of course, this hole here is for the air intake for the intercooler. So it's a air-to-air intercooler, and then after it cools down the charge, it goes back into the engine through the intake here. So you can see the big pipe that goes from down there. Actually, it comes out of the intercooler and into the engine and mixes with the fuel. I'm not sure, but I think this could be a direct injection engine. Yes, it's GDI. Hyundai are very experienced in building GDI engines. So I would suspect this 2-liter engine came from also the stockyard, the parts store, and what they did was put in a very nice turbocharger with the intercooler. So that turbocharger looks quite big. Yeah, it's quite a big turbocharger. Yep. So that's how you get the 275 horses, and the transmission is front wheel drive, and it's somewhere underneath here is a 6-speed manual with a clutch. So if you can't drive a manual, this car is not for you. Okay, good news. Actually, that cover that we saw, yeah, is actually a clip-on. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these 5 clips are just there to put the cover on to hide the engine. Okay, I wouldn't hide the engine. This is a beautiful piece of engine. Now that's the direct GDI pump. So the fuel pressure for direct injection cars are very high. So that goes for good atomization of fuel. And you can see here the intake is special plastic and is reinforced, not just ordinary plastic. And because these are plastic molded parts, the tolerances are very, very good. Okay, even the rocker cover is also plastic, so there's a lot of weight saving. And we get a chance to look at the turbocharger. Okay, that's the what do you call the cool air side, and the exhaust side is of course undercover there. The exhaust gases come out, turn the turbine, and this one in turn sucks in the air, goes into the intercooler, and comes back out here from the bottom into the engine. So this is how you get your power. Here's the start stop button. Okay, so when you start the engine, you get greeted by all this. Okay, so you can hear the roar of the exhaust. Okay, instrumentation, fairly simple, very, very simple, and that's what I like. You have a rev counter on the left, and red line is about 6,750. Yeah, it's around there. Then you see red, yeah, just before 7, and the speedometer shows up to 300. Wow. And this car is electronically limited to 250 kilometers per hour, but 300 okay lah, in case you want to modify. Yeah. Okay, down here you have okay, some of the things that Satya told me about is you got lane keep, and you also have autonomous front collision warning and braking. Yeah, autonomous braking. Okay, of course there's traction control, and all the basic things are there. And this is called the green buttons. grin, G-R-I-N, make you laugh. Okay, makes it fun. You have the drive modes. On the right hand side, you can get into N mode. Yeah, so okay, press the button. I'm gonna press this button here, press, and over there you have you press again, it goes to the N, you press again, it goes into custom. And custom mode allows you to change things in the parameters. So the things that are changeable are the suspension settings, steering settings, and engine tune. Yeah, horsepower remains the same. It's just that the engine tuning is different. Yeah, of course your shift points don't change because you are running a manual. Yeah, and then down here there's another button. They should have put it under the green button because this is a rev matching. So if you are not good at heel and toe, you press this button and you can have rev matching, same like in the Type R. So you see, rev matching on, rev matching off, and it's all done by pushing this button. Okay, there are a lot. Here's cruise control, and of course the part about the autonomous braking, it only detects other cars. It doesn't detect pedestrians and stuff like that. There's some certain limitations. Yeah, aircon is 2-zone, and let me just check at the back. Okay, there's no rear aircon. This is 2-zone aircon control, so left and right, and then you have all the buttons for you to play with, and of course sync means to sync left and right. Okay, then the aircon louvers, and of course they have a screen here. Let's see, map. Okay, there's no navigation map, and you got to put it into your SD card. Then you have modes. Oh, okay, custom, and you also have performance timer, and also you can track your G forces. Yeah, and this part you will monitor your turbo boost, monitor your torque, how much you're running, and also your power in terms of horsepower. Then there must be some home button somewhere, but I don't know. And then you have, of course, radio. Okay, then you have media, and of course your tuning buttons are there. You have your Apple CarPlay and your Android Auto, so it's very user friendly. Of course, you know that Korea is one of the leading countries for internet stuff, right? In terms of the dashboard, this is nice and soft touch, simple but classy. Oh, that's Albert Bierman. Now he's the boss of the N division, and that's his signature. Wow, very personalized. And then of course the aircon louvers are here, and it goes along to the side, and then nothing fancy, just a very simple interior. Key item is the seats. Then down here, of course this is a 6-speed manual gearbox. Yeah, reverses that side, and 1 2 3 4 5 6. And then here you have seat ventilators. Oh, okay, not that we're gonna use them. And hey, I see this steering thing with a heater on it. Heated steering.
Yes.
Oh, Satya just confirmed this is a heat. Oh, the car is made in Europe. On cold winter days, you can turn on your heater and you get a heating element on the steering wheel, and your hands get warm. Yeah, good for people with arthritis. Very cute. And of course you have your traction control, on and off, idle stop switch. Yeah, this is my favorite. We always turn it off. And of course parking sensors, yeah, for your teet sounds and all that. And of course the other heated seat. So further down you have your what you call your drink holders, made for small bottles, and a little cubby hole for you to put your smart tag and things like that. Okay, down here you have your 12-volt power point at 2, and then USB and aux. Oh yes, it's got an auto dimming rear view mirror. Not really necessary, but it's there, so you can say that this car is quite well equipped. Okay, let's go to the back. Okay, before we go into the car, okay, hear the pop, 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 pop. Wow, this is such a sexy sound. Okay, Satya is going to do something with the exhaust. And okay, go for it, man. Wow. Now that is exhaust, real exhaust sound. That's really nice, right? And okay, now we sit at the back. Now going to the back, what do you see? You see a very, very Spartan back. Okay, this car is, passengers are, by the way, you want to sit, you come and sit. Nothing for you, except, not bad actually, there are 3 headrests, so you can sit 3 people, but practically 2 people at the back. So it's made very simple, no frills, a bit of texture here, but it's all plastic, and there's no aircon control. So you know, this car is not made to pamper the rear passenger. And okay, so in terms of, oh my god, handles is correct, it's only got 3, so the driver doesn't need 1. And you have for the passengers and also for the back passengers on both sides. Now in terms of airbags, I count 2 in the front, then we saw the ones on the seat, so that's the side bags, that's 4. Then you will have the curtains, and that looks like 6 airbags. I don't know if there's a knee bag. Is there a knee bag? No knee bag, so there are 6 airbags in the car. And okay, I'm just sitting at the back, and that's my normal sitting position, and there is plenty of room. Yeah, 2650 mm of wheelbase, there's enough. And then okay, so here is a very interesting thing. The little quarter window at the back helps to make the car less claustrophobic. And of course, as usual, we have the adjustable height for the seat belt top anchor. Go to the back, and how do we open the boot? Like all cars, it's mechanical, yeah. Okay, so you can see the back seat folds. We're not going to fold it lah. This is supposed to be a performance car, and that's not one of the selling points. Yeah, so the boot is actually quite a decent size. You can put maybe 2 large suitcases piled one on top of the other, or maybe 1 large, 1 medium, and 2 small. So that's enough. And this is the spare tire, and it's a space saver. And of course the tools are there. So there is actually another cover here which we don't see, and you can actually have extra luggage space.
You can adjust the height.
Oh, okay, thanks Satya. You can put the thing up or down. Okay, so you can hide your durians at the bottom lah. Yeah, okay. Alright guys, so this is what the normal part looks like. And I can see here there's tie down hooks. So Satya said he forgot to bring the net, but there's a net. And here you see again PowerPoint for you if you want. And this is the Hyundai version of the tapao hook. Okay, now this is the interesting part, yeah. I'm sure the standard i30 doesn't have it, but the i30N has got this brace, and this is to help to make the body more rigid, which means it can corner better. Alright, hey, can we hear the sound one more time?
Yes.
Okay, Satya is going to give us the pleasure of listening to the sound. Woo! Wow, that's nice. Enough, huh? Enough, huh?